Good morning. Today I will discuss about the diabetic ketoacidosis. Myself Dr. Ashok Kumar Sai, Assistant Professor, North Bengal Medical College. Diabetic ketoacidosis is a life-threatening complication. It predominantly occurs in type 1, that is insulin-dependent diabetes, but it can also occur in type 2, that is non-insulin dependent diabetes, but under certain circumstances. Diabetic ketoacidosis result from shortage of insulin in our body. And what is the definition of the diabetic ketoacidosis? That means hyperglycemia. Number 2, that is blood pH, that is acidemia should be pH less than 7.3, and ketoacidosis. Normally, blood glucose level to occur in diabetic ketoacidosis more than 250 milligram percent, but usually occurs in more than 250 milligram percent, that is 300 to 400 milligram percent. And ketoacidosis, normal ketone body in serum is less than 3 milligram percent, but in case of ketoacidosis occur in blood about 90 milligram per 100 ml. Next, role of insulin in our body required for transport of glucose from blood to tissue. Tissue means that is the muscle, adipose tissue and liver. And one of the important function of insulin in our body, that is inhibits lipolysis. What happens in absence of insulin in our body? Glucose accumulates in the blood, use amino acid for gluconeogenesis, converts the fatty acid into ketone bodies. And what are the ketone bodies in our body? That is acetone, acetoacetate and beta hydroxybutyrate. Next, pathophysiology of the diabetic ketoacidosis. Diabetic ketoacidosis is a complex, disordered metabolic state characterized by hyperglycemia, ketoacidosis and ketonuria. Normally, ketone in urine should be less than 120 milligram per 24 hours. But in case of ketonuria, what happens? That is ketone bodies excreted through urine 5 gram, near about 5 gram per 24 hours. It occurs as a consequence of absence or relative deficiency accompanied by an increase in counter-regulatory hormones in absence of insulin. What are the counter-regulatory hormones? That is glucagon, cortisol, growth hormone, epinephrine. And these imbalances in diabetic ketoacidosis enhances hepatic gluconeogenesis, glycogenolysis, lipolysis and ketogenesis. Flow diagram of pathophysiology. Here you see insulin deficiency. What happens? That is decrease glucose uptake in tissue, and increased amount of glucose in blood leads to hyperglycemia. The more the hyperglycemia occurs, leads to osmotic diuresis, and osmotic diuresis leads to dehydration. In case of insulin deficiency, what happens in your body? That is the proteolysis and lipolysis. Proteolysis means protein breakdown. The more the protein breakdown, more amino acid will be formed and ultimately transformed into glucogenesis and glycogenolysis, and is again enters into the cycle of the hyperglycemia, osmotic diuresis and dehydration. And what happens in case of lipolysis? The glycerol fatty acids are produced. The more the fatty acid, it will be undergoes beta oxidation. Here you should keep in mind, here the beta oxidation occurs, that is the incomplete beta oxidation leads to excess amount of ketone bodies in our body and leads to ketogenesis and by ketogenesis to form the acidosis. Next, clinical presentation, that is symptoms. Diabetic ketoacidosis usually evolves rapidly over 24 hours period. Earliest symptoms are polyuria, polydipsia and weight loss, nausea, vomiting and abdominal pain. As the duration of the hyperglycemia progress, neurological symptoms develop. Next, clinical presentation, that is signs. Ill appearance, labored respiration, dry mucous membrane, dry skin, decreased reflex, ketotic breath odor, tachycardia, hypotension, tachypnea, hypothermia, confusion. These are all related with the diabetic ketoacidosis, because I have already discussed what happens in diabetic ketoacidosis, that is dehydration occurs. Decrease in pH in metabolic acidosis stimulates the respiratory compensatory mechanism and produces hyperventilation respiration, that is the labored respiration or the Kussmaul's respiration, to eliminate carbon dioxide, leading to hypocapnia or hypocarbia. PCO2 falls, and this would attempt to restore the ratio towards bicarbonate to carbonic acid ratio towards 20, that is the partial compensation occurs. Next, precipitating events, what are they? That is number 1, infection, number 2, inadequate insulin administration, number 3, drugs, and 4, that is pregnancy. Next, complication of the diabetic ketoacidosis: shock, vascular thrombosis, pulmonary edema, cerebral edema. Laboratory evaluation, we have to evaluate in laboratory if the patient is suffering from the diabetic ketoacidosis. First of all, we have to do the blood test for glucose every 1 to 2 hours. And next, that is the measure the serum electrolyte. And what are the serum electrolyte? Sodium, potassium, chloride, bicarbonate and phosphate. Renal function test. In renal function test, we do usually the urea creatinine to know the status of the kidney. Next, that is the urine test for ketones. Next, that is serum ketones. Anion gap, usually in diabetic ketoacidosis anion gap is increased. Next, that is plasma osmolality. Importance of investigating the plasma osmolality, that is used to measure the severity of the dehydration. Next, that is the management. Correction of fluid loss with intravenous fluid. Fluid replacement depends on the state of hydration, serum electrolyte levels and urinary output. By observing, monitoring blood pressure, pulse, respiration, fluid intake and output every 1 to 4 hours. Next, that is correction of the hyperglycemia with insulin. What type of insulin and what approach should be given, that is depends on the physician and according to the severity of the diabetic ketoacidosis. Next, that is the correction of the electrolyte disturbances, particularly potassium, because what happens, associated hyperkalemia is commonly seen due to redistribution of the potassium and H ions. The intracellular potassium ion comes out in exchange of H ion moving into the cells. Hence, care should be taken while correcting acidosis, which may lead to sudden hypokalemia, and this is more likely to happen in treating diabetic ketoacidosis by giving glucose and insulin together. We have to keep in mind, when the potassium level is less than 3.3 milliequivalent per liter, the usually give the 40 millimole of potassium chloride in each liter of the intravenous fluid. If the potassium level is more than 5 milliequivalent per liter, no need to give the potassium chloride. But if the potassium level is more than 3.3 but less than 5, and usually give the 20 to 30 millimole of potassium chloride in each liter of the IV fluid. Next, that is the correction of the acid base balance and treatment of concurrent infection of the diabetic ketoacidosis. Next, clinical error, because this is very important in case of diabetic ketoacidosis. During the management of this, what happens, that is number one, that is fluid shift and shock. Usually fluid in our body is present in intravascular compartment and extravascular compartment, and what happens if we give insulin first without sufficient fluid, what happens, that is fluid shift occurs from intravascular to extravascular and leads to shock. So we should keep in mind when insulin should be given, when fluid should be given. Next, that is the hyperkalemia. That is, if we treat the patient by giving the premature potassium administration before insulin has begun to act. So we should keep in mind when potassium should be given, before insulin or after insulin, and if this imbalance occurs, leads to hyperkalemia. Next, that is the hypokalemia. It usually occurs in failure to administration of potassium levels falling. Next, that is the recurrent ketoacidosis. It occurs in premature discontinuation of the insulin and fluid when ketosis still present. Next, that is the hypoglycemia, and if we replace the insufficient glucose administration, what happens, this leads to the hypoglycemia. Next, other cause of acidosis, that is behind the diabetic ketoacidosis. First of all, we have to keep in mind that it occurs in the malnutrition and starvation. Pathophysiology is the same. What happens? Stored fatty acid as fuel with same consequence of diabetes. Next, in very heavy exertion, that is occurs in sprinter and runners, what happens? That is the accumulation of lactic acid in blood, lactic acidosis. Next, what happens in a case of kidney failure? If the kidney does not function properly, usually happens the diminished capacity to regulate bicarbonate levels. What happens in metabolic acidosis? When the acidosis component is rises, usually bicarbonate level usually try to eliminate the acidosis, but when the capacity is fail to regulate the bicarbonate levels, this management usually will be improper. That is occurs in kidney failure. And next, that is the lung disease. One of the important lung disease, that is the disposal of the carbon dioxide in from our body. But in case of what happens, that is in case of emphysema, pneumonia and asthma, what happens? To reduce capacity to dispose of the carbon dioxide produced by fuel oxidation in the tissue with the resulting accumulation of the carbonic acid. Thank you.